Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and it is time for I believe this is the fourth episode of Mixed Martial Mindset. John Fitch at johnfitch.net. A lot to talk about, Fitch, that actually really involves you. Bellator had a big weekend of fights. I was down there. I love those things. I'm going to talk about how that's like just a great way for people to get started in MMA, in my opinion. Like UFC can be a little bit intimidating, the price of a ticket, etc. But with Mohegan Sun especially, you got to understand it's a 10,000 person plus arena, but it's also a huge casino and resort. So a lot of people get comped these tickets. And on top of that, I mean, the upper levels you can see into, there's only a couple of bad seats there. They're less than $60. Two people are going for 120. And then on the second night, I got scalp tickets from a woman who didn't want to go, probably got comped them, right, John? And we're talking press range right here. Really great scene section. Those cost me $100 for two.
Yeah, I mean, great. Yeah, no, it's one of the good things. Is they usually have very affordable tickets in SAP also. So yeah, if you want to go to a bigger show and you don't want to show out the big ass money UFC charges, then yeah, it's a good option.
It's a great option, and it's actually pretty family friendly in the area. A lot of suburbs out there. John Fitch Boulevard, about an hour away. I drive by it every time I go there. And it's just a really great time. We're going to get into those fights. We're going to get into Askren losing to Maia. I don't know if you saw that scrap, but that was a definite. I thought I had Ben Askren slightly edging out Maia in 1 and 2, and then getting caught in that last minute and a half in that scramble. And twice I thought he was going to get caught. He got out of it. But, you give Damian Maia a third chance in 90 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah. It's lights out. So before we get into all of it, guys, I want to let people know johnfitch.net is the website. That's how you find everything John Fitch, from your Twitter to your Facebook to your Instagram to your YouTube, where you do John Fitch Knows Nothing. Tell us about that.
Yep. So yeah, I was doing shake breaks for a little over a year, but recently I transitioned over to podcast. So now it has been rebranded as John Fitch Knows Nothing. Mostly are live streams, but I plan on doing some interviews and stuff down the future that I can load and put up later. Just having some fun with it. And, I know nothing, so you can't blame me for getting things wrong during the show.
And if you missed this, or if you want the audio version, you want to point people in that direction, thegruelingtruth.com is where we are on the podcast network. By the way, you want to sponsor this podcast, please contact John or I in the DMs. We'd love to work something out for you. It's a video. We're getting thousands of views already on this, guys. And thank you so much for the support. And I also want to say, hey, if you want to support me, I do the monthly GoFundMe. Month is almost up, and then we do it every time. But you guys are letting me do this 7 days a week, and I absolutely love you for it. So, the fights. Let's start with Bellator 231, because actually pretty stacked cards. Lots of names on these cards. That's the other thing. And it's not like they gave Phil Davis some guy off the street.
That kid was a tough up and comer. He was.
Did you catch that fight by chance?
I caught some of it. I was in an event and listening to people talk and at a dinner and stuff with my phone out and my DAZN on the phone.
Doing exactly what you tell people not to do on John Fitch Knows Nothing, at least on dates. But I know this was like
on dates. Well, I mean, there's it's just, you got to keep your frame. And that's part of my frame is, I watch violence.
And I'm with you. I enjoy it. I mean,
there's violence on. I'm probably gonna watch it. It's probably gonna be on somewhere.
I like, again, some rule sets. I know you don't like the BKFC as much as I like the BKFC.
No, it's not the fights that I don't like. It's why they're doing it and how they're doing it, right? Because they're clearly okay. And MMA is in a monopoly. UFC has a clear monopoly over everybody. In order to be successful in a monopoly, you have to be as dirty as the monopoly, or you have to be dirtier in how you run your business. That's the only way to stay afloat. So all the other MMA organizations have adopted the UFC's strategies and contracts. They have to be the same because they're the monopoly, and if they want to survive, that's what they got to do. If they try to do it the right way and they try to use a sanctioning body or if they didn't do the long-term contracts and all this shit, then they would go out of business because you're not going to survive unless you're doing what the dirtiest monopoly person is doing. Or you have to be dirtier than them, which is what's popping up with the bare knuckle stuff, right? Because it's not bare knuckle boxing. They're not calling it boxing. It's fights, bare knuckle fights. And they're doing that because they can get around regulations and rules and laws, and they can exploit the fighters more. That's what I have a problem with. If guys want to go fight and make money, that's great. But like, they deserve market value. They deserve free agency. They deserve to be taken care of. They're the product, and they are the labor. Right, that's a special case. They need a bigger percentage of what's being made.
I agree with you 100% on that. I look at it also kind of like this, with a guy like Artem Lobov, right, who's looked good in there and made some money with Maginali, headlined another event. The Jason Knight fight was a 5-round bloodfest, drew a lot of things. Now they're having a rematch. Can Jason Knight and Artem Lobov make more money in any other organization? I think that's the problem you run into, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm not. I think your argument's a good one, and it's a real one, especially when you're talking about there's a dozen other fights. That means 24 other fighters on those cards that are making next to nothing, and some of those are rough and brutal fights for sure. And a little less regulated than MMA.
You don't have a long bare knuckle fighting career.
Yeah, I don't know how long that road is going to be. But again, Lobov, I bet you, is probably making in the 100 to maybe even 200K, depending on the amount of pay-per-views. And I bet you Knight breaks the 100K mark. Even Knight coming up in the UFC with some pretty good fights and a front run. What was
and
his
my
biggest
thing
purse?
is, it's not about the dollar sign. It's about what's the percentage.
Yeah.
Like, we have no idea what these guys are making. We have no idea and that's part of the problem. That's why we have the Ali Act in boxing. So you can look at what the promoter is making off of your blood and your brain damage. And then you can go back and negotiate more. Maybe these guys should be making 10 times what they are making. Maybe they should make $1 million for what they're doing. We have no idea because we don't know how much money is being generated from this.
Again, I can't disagree. So, other fights. I was there, guys, and I'll stay away from the undercard, but Ed Ruth versus Jason Jackson. If you get to catch this, if you do have DAZN, go check that fight out. That was a barn burner. Ed Ruth continues to look very good, in my opinion. I like how they're building him. They're not giving him too much, but they're also not putting him in there with chumps. At least Bellator's doing that with Ruth, especially with his skill level and fights. They brought Beck Rawlings in to win. She didn't. The other girl looked great and tough. And then Jake Hagar, Anthony Garrett was definitely a step up in competition. He took the fight seriously. He was in the best shape I'd seen him. But that second groin strike, man, that's a DQ in my book. I don't know if you saw that, but they gave him a no contest. I mean,
was it a no contest?
Yeah, the thing was, it was the second time, and this one was one of those ones. I don't know if you ever, if you remember when Barnett fought Mark Hunt in Japan, and Mark Hunt could not get up from that. I mean, he just couldn't do it. It went past the 5-minute mark. They were trying to get him to go in there. He might not have been
wearing a cup. Some of these guys don't even wear cups.
What are they thinking? How could they not wear a cup?
Like, I wear a steel cup that I tie on like a G-string, and that thing, I could take a round from a 50, whatever, a large
50
bullet.
cal?
50 cal.
People will be paying to see that later.
Like, I've gotten kneed and kicked in the cup plenty of times, and it probably hurt my opponent more because I had the proper equipment on. Mm-hmm. I had the proper equipment on, and I had it on the right way. You had to tie it on the right way.
I've never been there, my friend, but I'll take your word for it.
When you're fighting and you only half your purse is guaranteed, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. You want that
I'm
win.
also a cardio guy, so like I don't want to take 5 minutes to recover from a nut shot. I want to give you the chance to recover. So like, wise up, guys. Get a cup that fits right.
All right, moving on to the next night, and this is where you're definitely going to be coming in. But you know what else was really great about those seats? Being behind the press corps before the first fight started. First of all, I'm sitting next to like this really pretty looking like preteen or just teenager and his family. The family kind of looks like they're mafia connected, but I'm not sure. Definitely New York City. But looking at the kid and we start talking, this kid ends up being one of the Instagram influencer kids that you read about. Like he
Yeah,
has 250,000 Instagram followers and just,
it's
does all
crazy.
that out. But I did have somebody from the media come over to me and mention the Conor McGregor thing and had seen my videos. And we talked about access. And he was just like, look, man,
Mhm.
no one dares ask those questions or you lose access. He's like,
Yeah,
everybody knows it, but we
everybody.
can't talk about it.
Brennan Schwab actually brought it up on his podcast the other day. So like at least one other person's talking about it.
Yeah, no, Luke, again, he said the second time, but again, no one seems to want to talk about that first incident and how vicious it
Dude,
is. And
dude, WME, right? Same company that represent Harvey Weinstein. In bed, and they're also in bed with ESPN. Who's doing this whole thing covering up Hong Kong protests so they can sell it to the Chinese. Freaking shady. These people are shady.
well,
Like,
when I got
oh my
back from the first
goodness.
night of fights, John, I didn't even know there was this like sexual assault apology scandal. So apparently, the Astros right now, like the GM or the owner, had to apologize all over because he defended somebody who was accused of a sexual assault, and then he had to fire the guy. And I mean, there's a 5-person panel on ESPN to discuss how that's not enough. Not from somebody that sexually assaulted anybody, but that somebody was somewhat apologetic that may have done something much less vicious than Conor. And it is mind blowing to me. We're now on the second confirmed investigation that's
Targeted.
going on now, and no
100%
one will
targeted.
touch the first one. And just to let everybody know, I want to show this to people because I haven't done it live yet, but we're definitely about to do it. So I'm logged into my Twitter, and what you see here is it's my thread where you can see each link. Remember we went through this thread live, I think, last week, John?
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, for, I guess, the Twitterverse and myself, a reporter for TSN, the Canadian ESPN,
Yeah.
started retweeting these out. Let me show you what it looks like for somebody that is not me. You can go check it out yourself. You're logged in, John. But now, every single one with a link and the quotes from those mainstream articles, and remember, there was nothing else there, are completely gone. Tweets are unavailable. The only one they allowed me the hyperlink to was the 8% because it doesn't really mess with Conor in that. They took down a dozen. They act like they're not there. Then Mike Cernovich tweeted out about the Finders, John. Do you know about the Finders?
No.
So this is something I've been covering for 15 years plus that no one wanted to talk about, but it had to do with the Franklin scandal and a VIP callboy ring in the RNC back in the 80s and 90s. Made front page news. Craig Spence and others. Larry King, not the talk show host, but somebody else, big names in that. And how that was discovered was police got calls about these 5 dirty children that were out in this Florida parking lot in a white van. And when they went to go get them, they were connected to this group who may or may not have been connected to the CIA called the Finders. And we're talking about the whole satanic ritual abuse, child porn ring, everything. And the FBI investigated it. I had done a video about some of the already released documents that just came out about a year ago with Derek Bros of the Conscious Resistance. So I tweeted back at Cernovich because he goes, "Does this say what it said? What I think it looks like, which is, child trafficking and the Central Intelligence Agency with this Finders thing?"
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Sure does, Mike. Learn more here." And then they took down my hyperlink, so it doesn't even show that I have a video. Now on other browsers it does. So now all of a sudden I'm being shadow banned in a way I never was before, and I've talked about some
Yeah,
heavy
like it's targeted shadow banning about certain topics. That's wild.
Yeah, and again, it's right here, right now. I'm logged in. But for anybody else, if you're searching that tweet and don't have Twitter, or you're searching that tweet and you are
It's almost
logged in,
like, can they even do an algorithm for that, or is that an individual like going
I
through and
don't
like,
know,
oh,
but it
no,
didn't.
I gotta like block that.
Go check it out. It's on my pinned. I don't know if it'll show up for you. It showed up for other people in other countries, but again, happened literally within 12 hours of the TSN reporter starting to retweet. He's got his nice little blue check mark. As soon as he started retweeting my stuff, man, forget about it. Dunzo. So again, there should be a dozen plus links there, but they're gone. Pretty incredible.
Mm.
Getting back to the fights, guys. Paul Daly looked pretty good. I'm not saying he's on the sauce, but he is an older guy. He looked really great. He knocked out Syed Awad. What else did we have?
Yeah,
Patch.
it was a big punch.
Yeah, big time. Well, you know what? You beat Daly, and you beat Daly the way people beat Daly. Grind him down. There's a reason he took a swing at Koscheck after the bell, because Koscheck dominated him for 3 rounds. That was very frustrating for Daly, and Daly was on the come up. He looked good in strike force. I think one of his only major losses was to Nick Diaz, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a great fight.
As far as known named guys, yeah.
Yeah, and Daly was coming up and looking pretty good in the UFC as well. But a wrestler was his kryptonite. Koscheck, yourself, and yeah, and even MVP being able to grind him out for 5, I was kind of, again, iffy decision, but I was kind of surprised with. Again with Kimbo Jr. or Baby Slice.
Yeah, that was a tough one because, if you move your head into a bad spot, it looked like continuation of other blows. So I don't think you could really call that DQ. I don't know if you could even get a no contest out of it.
I hope not. Really, only one of those elbows. The second elbow hit him square.
Yeah, the second one, but they were moving, so
Yeah.
it wasn't like he was even really at a stationary target. My thing is, you can't keep your head down there on the outside like that very long. You gotta move right away. Like if you feel that first elbow come in, you've got to get the head on the inside. You've got to duck the head. You got to move immediately. Like he hung out trying to force that takedown. It's not gonna happen. You're gonna end up getting hurt.
So let's get to the main event. I definitely had Lima winning, but I could have seen. I thought going into the 5th round, it easily could have been 2-2. Maybe giving Rory 1 and 3. There wasn't a lot going on in those fights.
Yeah, that's kind of what my takeaway too is that Lima probably did enough to win, but it wasn't so impressive that I was guaranteed. Oh, that Rory, he's definitely going to win the fight because he's still fighting the champ. Mm-hmm. You usually have to go above and beyond a normal display of, outperforming your opponent to do that. You have to really dominate to take away from the champion. So I was like, well, they'll probably give it to Rory. I really thought they'd probably give it to Rory, but no, it went to Lima. And, I would love to come out of retirement for Lima.
And you know what? Let's talk about that because World Combat Report, the guys that came over to me and talked to me, I don't want to give up too much of his name, but Cody from World Combat Report asked Lima. Lima says you deserve it.
We'll probably do an interview coming up shortly in the next week or so.
Lima says you deserve it, and Coker, twice has said he needs to talk to you. So press it, John. I think you deserve that fight. You won against Rory McDonald. McDonald also said he'd be interested in a fight with you. So, he wants to put a stamp on it. I'd say this. Why not give McDonald Larkin and see if Larkin can string the wins together? I think that's a great fight. People want to see it. And put it on the same card with you and Lima, and winner gets it. And then, you got 2 nice fights left in your career after you take that belt. I think it's the perfect way to go.
Sounds great, yeah. And then, if I beat Lima, and then Rory beats Larkin, then we rematch. That'd be great. And then if he wins the belt for me, then he could fight. He could fight Lima.
It's perfect. Listen,
so
and Scott,
it's a good way to go about things. I'm in it. Let's do it.
Scott, listen to me. It doesn't even have to be on the same card. Do another back-to-back Bellator in my neck of the woods, Mohegan Sun. Perfect place to do it. You got 2 great headline fights.
The fans here, man. The fans got robbed of watching their boy win a world title.
Oh, you want it in California? That's a long hike from you, John.
Come on, me and Lima, San Jose. Let's get it.
That's a long. You know what he could do?
You owe it to the fans. Come on. Why do you hate the fans, Jason? Why do you hate
I don't hate the fans. You know what? Why don't we could do it? We could do it 1-1 then, and we could do 1 East Coast, and it doesn't necessarily have to be at the Suns because it's not back to back. They do the Friday Saturday thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So exactly, we'll do it back to back there. I don't hate the fans. I love the fans. I'm a for the people fans kind of guy for sure. So actually, let's talk a little bit about what you did this weekend because I think it's really interesting and it's going to be a great segue into what I really want to talk about with this Duke University thing, because I had never seen this. And it's just this crazy campaign that wants to criminalize speech. And guys, I got to tell you, I think that I'm going to just take the word I'm not supposed to say and say something funny instead, because I don't want to get in trouble on the Google algorithm. I didn't write this stuff. And, I could get in trouble for hate speech. I could literally get, and I think that's ridiculous, I could literally get strikes on this channel or the channel just taken down by reading this stuff off. So I'm going to be very cautious. But a lot of the stuff I'm seeing here is just, it is anti-biology, and I know that you're big on that. And you just went to a, what is it called, the 21 convention?
21 convention, which, man, I was explaining this to this friend of mine, and she couldn't get it. She couldn't understand why this was a problem. So it's a convention for men to learn about being better men, right? How to be a better husband, how to have a better chance with dating with girls, how to better run your businesses, right? How to be more emotionally stable, how to be more mentally stable, mental health, emotional health, physical health, and just opportunities like network and just basically just teach you the thing that a lot of guys haven't ever learned because either their father was not there or their father was very soy.
And that seems to be a problem these days. It's tough for me.
Major problem.
I totally agree with you. You need a male influence in your life, boy or girl, especially a positive one, because there's so much negative.
You can't learn how to be a man from somebody who's not a man.
You know what? I think that there are some people that turn adversity out there. One of my biggest regrets is that I'm kind of like car-tarded, and I don't know if I can say that. That's maybe not a word I'm not supposed to say anymore, but I never had that mechanic fix-it dad, and I miss that. You know what I mean? And I've had to take kind of different male role models and hopefully get the best of each of them.
And that's what a lot of this is about too. Is I'm trying to learn about mentorship so that I can be out there and put myself out there to help some of these guys who they don't have any clue. They don't know. They were raised by a single mom and they act like girls and they can't understand why girls don't want to go on dates with them.
Well, I'll tell you what. You got to watch that Dennis Rodman 30 for 30. I'll end up giving you my ESPN Plus because it's garbage anyway and I barely use it. I hate it. I hate it so much. ESPN Plus, yeah, you might have to block me. I know you're Disney and your UFC, your service is awful, but that documentary is actually fantastic in the sense that I had no idea that, first of all, Rodman didn't go to college, wasn't a freshman until he was 21. Okay? So he was actually 5'9" when he graduated high school. It was his sisters that were the athletes. He grew like some 10 inches. After that, he becomes like 6'8", 6'9". Then he goes to college. But when he first goes to college, he's so childlike still. And he was playing with his mom and the two girls. And he had no male role model. He was abandoned by his father. Why he ends up abandoning most of his children later in life, in my opinion. By the way, we got a couple super chats. And I promise I will get to those in a second, guys. I thank you so much. That when he first gets to, I forget what college he's at, he befriends a 12-year-old boy. Now, I know this sounds crazy, right? Like, I'm watching this, I'm like, holy shit, I'd never heard any of this. And it sounds weird. But he gets taken in by this boy and his family, which is like this white Southern family, Midwestern family. And to the point where he wants them to adopt him. He's not a rookie in the NBA till he's 26 years old. He just ended up aging, incredibly. And he was very much a man-child, and a lot of that has to do with like zero influence of a positive role model till this guy was in his early 20s.
On top of that, there's a lot of kids who have similar type stories. They're surrounded by women. They're raised by a single mom. They go to school and it's mostly females and they're surrounded by feminine stuff all the time. And this isn't an attack against females or people who are feminine. Like single moms, it's not a knock on them. It's just that the fatherlessness is a problem. That's what we're pointing a light on. It's not single mothers are a problem. It's fatherlessness is a problem. You need male role models.
You got to find it somewhere. That's why Big Brothers and other types of mentorship, where they can see somebody that's doing it, that's positive, that's not in and out of jail, that's not on drugs, that's keeping a job, that's friendly to people. I mean, there's so much that goes into it that can teach a skill set, that can be there and do things maybe a woman or not a woman necessarily, or that woman can't do. You know, there are plenty of things other guys can do that I can't. That they're, you know, I can't do jujitsu. I'm sure that would be a great disciplinary tool for others.
That's a part of masculinity and being a man is mastering violence. Like you need to know how to take care of yourself. If you, it's not that, oh, you need to go out and push people around and get into fights. No, but if somebody breaks into your house and attacks you or your family, like you need to have some competent level of self-defense. Every man needs to, period. On top of that, I think when you have that competence, you automatically have an aura of confidence around you, which becomes more attractive too.
Well, I think that also, you know, another thing is that also helps with your physical health, your training, or, you know, you have that, and you look at some of these martial arts guys later in life that maybe haven't kept it together. They're still, you know, they still have that reaction time, muscle memory, etc. But it also gives you the discipline to stay in somewhat shape, and your physical health has so much to do with your mental health that people refuse to acknowledge.
The act of putting yourself into adversity, purposely putting yourself into adversity over and over and over again on a daily basis is extremely good for building up mental strength and fortitude and becoming anti-fragile.
I totally agree. Let's hit these super chats, and then we're going to get into this Duke story. Flick Off says, late for the show. Hope I didn't miss too much. Missed your regular content amount the last few days, but hope you had a good rest. Keep it up. Thank you. Yeah, no, I did. I love going there. It's great. And then I spent $20 to hear the word hypergamy. That's from Brian Telford. Give it to us, Fitch.
Hypergamy. That's funny. You got to watch out for the hypergamy. It's real.
Again,
hypergamy
not wrong.
It is real.
It's real on both ends. You're not wrong. People want to
it.
gravitate towards other people that have social power, are physically attractive, are around other people that are enjoyable. It's a real thing.
And like it's funny because it exists, but they'll try to pretend it doesn't. Like the articles, like men today aren't marriage worthy because they don't make enough money. Well, that's hypergamy. That's right there. They have articles about it. Like men aren't doing as well, so women are finding less men to marry because a woman wants somebody on her level or above it. She wants somebody better than her.
I mean, again, I do not disagree. So, guys, if I don't read these 100% correctly, and we're going to get a Fitch reaction every time, I promise you, I apologize. I have Fitch blocking the names of these people. But if they have a position in the school, I'm definitely going to say it. Like, this is the dean of the school. These are quotes made up by people that either work there or go to Duke University. Now, I'm going to read this one because I don't think I'll get banned for it. But I don't say gay best friend because my friends are more than their sexual orientations. Now, let me say this.
Sounds like hate speech.
It's just, all right, why would you say gay best friend? Otherwise, if it was your best friend, it would probably come up later. So...
I would probably just say my friend Steve.
Yeah, exactly. This one is pretty soft, but at the same time, it's like the old lady, and it's just playing into a stereotype that I don't think any longer exists. It's the FAG, hag. I can't say that word anymore, but that's what they used to call it. It used to be an old lady who befriended a homosexual. It became her best friend, and then I guess the more proper term later on would be gay best friend. I don't know why you would call it that if it was just your best friend, but just weird they would go there. This is the dean of the school.
Call him Bill or Steve or maybe why is it like I don't quantify all of my relationships when I am talking about people to other people by describing their like genitals or physical attributes. Hey, you know Bill, my fat friend. Kelly, the one that smells like pine cones.
Yeah, it usually goes like this. Oh, you know my friend Timmy? And you're like, no, hey, he's the taller guy. He's got the crew cut, and then if that doesn't get there, he's always wearing Raiders gear or something. You know what I mean? It's not, by the way.
Steve, you met him at that one night at the bar. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, I think this shows you a peak because this is why people on that far left are so full of hate. They're the ones that have the problem. They're the ones that haven't gotten past this stuff. Like the rest of us, I don't really care.
Oh, we're gonna get crazy.
I don't care about your genitals. I don't care what you do with them. I don't care about your skin, your hair, whatever. Just don't mess up my life, right? And just don't encroach on my space. I don't care. Be free.
I don't say tyranny. I'm gonna say the word tyranny, but it's not tyranny. anagram there, because it's up to trans individuals to define their gender identities. Now, let me say this again: it used to be transsexual, and it used to be post-op or pre-op. Now, if you wanted to do the slang term, like T-porn or whatever, that's what you used to say. I don't really, again, see a bunch of people using this as kind of like a hate term, but I don't think it should be restricted. Do you?
It's just a word. I don't understand how words can be so scary to people. Like, it's just a form of control. Somebody's just trying to assert control over you. If I want to go around and tell you, you have to call me master. I must tell everybody, I'm not John anymore. I'm master. Call me Master Fitch. I have a black belt. I'm a master. I'm a world champion. Call me master. Like, what's the difference? I identify as a master. I do. I've mastered violence.
I see this one really bothers me because I'm going to go ahead and say it. Don't kick me off. But hey, it's on the Duke University School of Nursing. I don't say retarded because it marginalizes people with living with mental disabilities. First of all, if you walked up to an actual retarded person and you called them retarded, you're a terrible person. Right there, I would say the mores of society dictate anybody else around you is going to reprimand you or give you shit or realize you're a terrible person. So again, when I use the term retarded, first of all, it's usually to describe not somebody who has a mental illness, but someone who is feeble-minded. The actual definition from Webster's dictionary 20 years ago that they told me, because they used to call people that we called retarded mongoloids. I say that was much worse. Talking about a physical mental retardation, like a Down syndrome type thing, is not a derogatory thing, but to call something that also just, again, means it's feeble-minded. It's a synonym for that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Fitch.
No, that's right. It's something that is not the way it should be. It came out wrong from what it was designed to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Acting properly. It's just it's a descriptor. It's a word of description. Doesn't mean necessarily even that you have mental handicap. Even you could have a plant that's a little retarded because it didn't grow right, or you could have something else you made came out a little retarded.
And that's why they used to put mentally in front of it, because again, it had different meanings. Again. All right, so let's get to this next one. Here it is. Let's not say this. I don't say kill me because suicide is serious and should not be appropriated. So forget about cultural appropriation at Duke University.
Suicide appropriation. Holy Jesus. Don't appropriate my suicide. That is awful.
Dude, I told you it was going to get wild in here. I mean, again, the slang for when you were upset about something, you were hanging out with friends, just kill me. Now you don't want to trigger somebody that might have depression and is thinking about suicide. So please don't appropriate that.
Wouldn't that be more like a murder victim? You're appropriating a murder victim or something?
John, it's so out of control when I see stuff like this. I'm like, you wonder how far the boundaries.
Like, who identifies with this stuff? It's like, oh yeah, that's great. Like, that makes me feel so much. But who is out there who this is working for?
Again, I was never a fan of
Duke
Duke back in the day.
Is insane. Because like I live in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
And you think a lot of the stuff would be really bad, but I'm not seeing this when I go out and I talk to people.
Let's get on to the next one. I don't say fuego because it's offensive to gay men like me.
Bundle of sticks.
What's that?
Bundle of sticks. You don't say a bundle of sticks.
A bundle, yes. A bundle of sticks. In fact, that's Marina Abramovich. That's in the WikiLeaks email. She actually talks about making one of those up. I won't say the word, the bundle of sticks word. But, look, again, here's the thing. Are we going to stop saying that the 40-Year-Old Virgin movie is appropriate because in the beginning there's a whole rant that goes on throughout? You know how I know you're gay? Because this. You know how I know you're gay? Because that. Are we taking that away? Are we taking this away as, again, it's one of those things that you don't necessarily think somebody's gay, but you're just trying to be hurtful in the moment? It's so weird.
Well, a lot of this really just comes down to insecurity. People are just insecure. People are so insecure they think other people are thinking about them, or talking about them, or care. We don't. We don't give two shits. We really don't. Stop trying to make us care. just go away.
So
Like, do your own thing. Do your thing. We don't care. We really don't care.
now we got a little different spin on the gay best friend. He doesn't say, I don't say gay best friend because my stereotyped sexuality does not define my value as a friend. Again, then why are you playing into the stereotype? I don't understand how this is making any of it better. Here we go. And this is one that makes me crazy.
Is that a chubby Justin Trudeau?
Trudeau probably did this 3 times for Halloween over the years. 100%. We're going to find that one. Now, I'm not going to say that the river dam here, but I don't say that because my sexual orientation shouldn't be labeled with a slur. Women's rowing. Well, why did they show, again, what the most stereotypical lesbian that would be put as that in there? Like, the only way that this could have been more stereotypical is if there was a flannel shirt over it, right? And it was a button down at the Duke University. Dare I say that? Is that too risky for YouTube? Like, look at this. Yeah, I know. I got really upset when I saw it too, John. I don't say man up because it implies that women are weak. John, please, take it away. You were in the manosphere.
Man up has nothing to do with saying anything about women. It has to do with men. Men for millions of years had to sacrifice and take a risk in order for everybody else to be better off. Men had to fight wars. Men had to defend against invaders. Men had to plow fields. Men had to hunt. Men had to risk their lives. Today, most men have the highest rates of death in workplace, deaths. Like, even today, like, men have to sacrifice, and you're expected to sacrifice as in this day and age, guys, man up and marry the single mom. Man up, and it's constantly being used. Man up and marry this girl for this reason, and you knocked up or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, you sound like a fucking misogynistic pig, John. How dare you? I just can't even. Man up? How could you use the term man up?
Like, the term itself, it means like when some hard shit happens, you don't get to sit and cry about it. You got to take care of it, or people suffer. That's what it means. I'm a father. Like, I don't get bad days. I'm not allowed to have a bad day. I'm not allowed to feel sad. Because I don't get to go and take the day and sit on the couch and, I'm having an off day. No, like, my kids don't eat. Like, they don't get their fucking clothes cleaned and folded. I don't get a break. I don't get a downtime. That's just nothing I do. Like, it's not allowed. If I don't man up, my kids suffer.
Well, you better. That's very 90s terminology, John, and you should be a damn shame to be even using it. I can't even believe it. Like I said, cartoon level here, folks. And if you thought it couldn't get more cartoon level, I assure you, there's at least one more that I just couldn't believe that they even put on there. But wait, we want to go back. I don't say that's so gay, because homosexuality should never be an insult, and I get that one again. But are we taking away the 40-year-old virgin?
Again, they're taking the. I think they're taking the meaning away from that a little bit.
Gay used to be happy. It just meant jolly.
No, me, like, that's so gay is okay. So gay is not normal straight. So not normal heterosexual behavior. That's not what that is. So okay. So if you say, that's so gay, you're saying that's not normal. That's not how things usually are.
Yes, it's just a subversion of whatever. And again, it meant jolly.
I don't care what anybody calls me. I don't care. Like, call me misogynist. Call me freaking incel. Call me
an incel.
Whatever. I don't care. You know why it doesn't bother me? Because I know that's not true. I don't give a shit. Like, your view of things doesn't matter to me. I don't fucking care. Say whatever you want. I don't care. I'm a cracker. I'm dumb.
Yeah, you're a cracker-ass motherfucker.
Women don't like me. I'm dumb and poor and stupid, and I suck at fighting, and I'm boring. Oh, I'm the worst. Go ahead. I really don't give a fuck. Like, say what you want. Like, maybe we need to teach people to fucking man up and be less sensitive. Maybe you need some anti-fragility. Let's do that.
Well, it sounds like you're being a little bossy, John. And she doesn't say bossy because I'm not ashamed of my determination.
determination. Bossy, that's man, that's having no self-awareness, right? When somebody's calling you bossy, it's not your determination. It's because you're not in a position where you're credible or you deserve to be listened to. When you haven't achieved a damn thing and you're bossing people around, fuck off. Like, I say that to a guy or a girl, like, to just presume you know everything better than everybody else and have zero experience at it and zero knowledge in it, and you're still going to tell everybody what to do. We used to be a thing. My ex she never had a job, never started a business, never did shit, but she would criticize my friend who had a business that he'd been running for 17 years. Tell him, no, he's not doing it right. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You're like, that's bossy. That's like, shut up. Like, go do something. Do something before you give people advice or tell them how they should be doing it.
And again, why are they playing into, like you said, you can definitely, I've called other people bossy, man or woman. It has nothing to do with the woman. So why are they playing into like this media created stereotype with this woman, like, ashamed? No one should be ashamed of their determination. It seems like the women's rowing team is very upset. Lots of women's rowing team on this one. They don't like words, John. Oh, the next one, and we're going to keep going. Again, I don't say retarded because my brother's speech impediment doesn't indicate his intelligence. First of all, again, if you're going up to somebody who simply has a speech impediment and calling them retarded, you're the asshole. For instance, look at somebody like Stuttering John Melendez from the Howard Stern Show. He had a physical stutter, had nothing to do with mental retardation. He actually overcame that stutter and ended up working on The Tonight Show and still is a successful producer and comedian today.
My partner in another podcast I do, Fitch Tinkle Smash Everything, Chris Tinkle, he's struggled a little bit with stuttering. I had to take speech therapy when I was in whatever, kindergarten or some shit, because I mumbled a lot. I still mumble a lot if I get lazy when I'm talking. So what? Who gives a shit? Stop being so sensitive. Stop being so sensitive. Man up. Man up.
That's right. You hear that, women's basketball?
Man up.
I don't say you don't look gay because my looks don't define who I love. Now, once again,
exactly? You don't look gay. Like, you got two gigs in your mouth. Like,
exactly.
What does that mean? What does it even mean? You don't look gay. I don't even know what that means.
I know. Some of these are over the top. This is the one I like a lot. I don't say illegal alien because it's the correct term. I mean, because it dehumanizes.
They illegally entered. They broke the law. Let's not call it illegal. Let's not call it by what it is.
You're dehumanizing people who seek better lives, John. So again,
thieves. There's a legal way to do it. You can seek a better life legally. I could come and rob you at gunpoint because I want your money to make my life better. Does that make it okay? You don't call me an illegal armed robber, though.
And by the way, there are plenty of places
that would dehumanize me because I'm trying to make a better life for me and my family. Don't dehumanize me by calling me illegal. Like, what is? The world is crazy.
I don't say.
You know what the best quote from the best quote from that whole conference I went to? What was it? Stefan Molyneux said it. He said, "Sane is the new gay." So coming out as sane is like coming out as gay in the 80s.
I mean, I don't disagree. I think
you'll get divorced. You're kicked out of your family because you understand facts and evidence.
It's tough, man. My little sister was just here. Like I said, she came up and she rolls her eyes at me all the time on these things I'm saying or talking. And, she's like 24 and I'm just like, Sarah, you got to understand that's not how the world works. Like this is reality. It's not fantasy land. But then again, what are you going to do? You try to reach them as best you can. And apparently, I don't say C-bombs. I actually enjoy the word. It's actually a term of endearment.
It's a wonderful word.
It's a fantastic guy or girl, by the way.
That's like the nuclear button. That's only used in special occasions. You have to earn that shit. little
I
cunt.
see. I'll.
You have to earn it. I don't. I maybe have used that 5 times in my lifetime.
Oh, I'm way more than that.
They
I could use it a
deserved it.
baker's
They
dozen time in
were
a weekend.
100%. They were 100% that.
Oh, it's a good one. But now you're not allowed to say it because she's more valuable than a single body part. Again, I go after guys and girls with it. You know,
See,
it
I mean,
really.
and this, she doesn't. I don't think she's getting like the definition of use of it right. Like because of more than a single body part. Did they not even realize why it's used or what it means?
I don't
When it's
think they get
used?
it. Like it's like ultra bitch on steroids. Like
Yeah.
yeah. But bitch is probably going to be guy. Probably I'm surprised it's not on the list here. You know, I don't use the term bitch because I respect my female dog Karma. Oh, here we go. I don't say that's so gay because the words gay and stupid are not interchangeable. Again, I don't know that it's like stupid. You know, again, they're playing into these like
Yeah,
stereotypes.
that's one of the things I noticed they do a lot on the far left. They redefined words
Oh,
all the time.
here's one that you're gonna love the redefinition of. I thought there was only two more super ridiculous ones. I don't say clinging, but because it implies people with HIV are dirty. Now, the term clean to me usually, first of all, other
Don't have
than
diseases.
being a clean person, showering every day, it used to be clean off of drugs, and you could go different variations of that.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
or
that's
I eat clean.
maybe the heightened level of STDs these days.
Exactly, or I didn't have the herpes. You know what I mean? More than likely, no, I'm clean.
Yeah.
It didn't necessarily because it still really doesn't. And this is again how the media promotes something that isn't a national pandemic, isn't an epidemic. It's a bigger epidemic of drugging people out with these psychotropic drugs, in my opinion, and then trying to sell them a pre-HIV medication that nobody needs. They're scaring the shit out of you when the numbers of people with HIV are super low in this country compared to other ailments. You know what I mean? Hepatitis, for instance, thank God that they've actually figured out a treatment that can get rid of Hep C. But that was a big killer in the 80s and 90s. No one talks about that. Much bigger than HIV. So, I mean, what's your take on this one? I mean, this one blows my mind on so many levels.
Yeah, I mean, what is the term you're supposed to use that you don't have any diseases that will kill you?
I'm disease free, John. I'm
Yeah.
not clean because someone with HIV
I'm
might be dirty.
disease-free.
Again, an implication that's never
you
there.
start saying I'm disease free, and then that's going to be wrong because you don't want to devalue people who have diseases.
Correct.
I'm non-contagious. Oh, we don't want to be mean to people who are contagious. Like, where does it end?
It doesn't end here because I don't say no homo, John. Because showing affection shouldn't have to be justified.
What about no homo with the R? R-O.
No Homer?
No homo. No, because in Brazil, the Portuguese, it's like an MMA joke.
Oh.
No homo with the R. Like Hickson.
Gotcha.
Half Gracie, R-A-L. Yeah, Half.
Is that the last one? There might be one more.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't say F, falafel, because it implies there's something wrong with the same-sex attraction. Maybe one of the most valid arguments of the day, but I wouldn't want to get rid of that word at all. Again,
Words have different meanings.
100%. Well, we talked about the sticks, and that is the last one there, John. Duke University. That's where you're sending your kids, right?
I want to start teaching my kids about just online money making. Like I'm leaning towards. I hope they don't go to college. Like we'll have the college fund, put money away, whatever. But I hope that turns out just to be like something they get when they turn 25, rather than being forced to actually go through shitty college and whatever. Like you don't need it. You don't need to do that stuff. That's one of the biggest things I've learned too from that conference I went to this last weekend. These are guys who are self-made. They're working with people. They're helping people, and they're making a living. And like they all didn't need their college degree to do what they're doing, whether they got one or not. They didn't need to.
No, I mean, listen, again, I talk about it all the time. I'm a beauty school dropout, and I'm like top 15 ranked on my college's website. You know, they have, I think it's something ridiculous. I think it's like 10,000 students a year. You know, it's been 20 years since I've been there. I still don't have a degree from it. I'm not incredibly famous. You know, I'm getting stomped out on the McGregor stuff. I mean, I guess some of my movies have been kind of famous. I've done some decent things, but it just shows like if I'm one of the top 15 guys, and like you got Gary Sinise in there and Bill Pullman, it's like we're totally like an astronaut. Oh, yeah, yeah. Like we're totally fucked. Like how many people are going into that system that should be pumping stuff out, that should be notable, that should be put out? That's one state university in a slew of state universities. It really is state, you know, and it's not, I didn't go there for broadcasting. I thought I was going to be doing graphic design, maybe animation. I went there for computer art, a field that changed dramatically from the late 90s when I got into it to today. And although, you know, that skill set, the good stuff carried over, I get to do these thumbnails, right? It worked into my video production. Obviously, I fell into documentary filmmaking. But at the end of the day, those things were, you know, aside from the school that I went, because I hated all the other fucking classes, were the things I was interested in. And then with the tools that I learned from the things I was interested in, I did films and productions about what? The things I was interested in. And now, thanks to you guys out there, I'm able to do this. I'm interested in MMA. I get to fucking talk to a great MMA fighter once a week about fights and life in Duke University. And getting back to the fights.
I went to school to wrestle. You know? After my first week of student teaching, after my 5th year of school, in my 5th year of school, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, I don't want to do this. I was like, I don't want to do this. I can wrestle for another year. Then what? What's this fighting thing? Let's try that.
And it interested you, and you know you've reached the top of the mountain several times. You're going to do it again.
A big thing with me was I didn't have debt when I got out of school because I had a little bit of stuff saved before, right? Because my parents planned ahead.
Sure.
And I earned scholarships. So like I earned scholarships, the money I saved with my scholarships, I was able to use that to move to California, and I had enough money to last, you know, a year or so to see what would happen, and you know, I made things work.
And now you're moving into kind of more the digital realm again. John Fitch knows nothing. One thing you do know is fighting, and
online,
and you know corruption. So Nate Diaz, Jorge Masvidal. All the shenanigans. Let's get your take before I start running my mouth on it.
I want to quickly read something that one of my subscribers posted on my Shake or my John Fitch Knows Nothing the other day. Mm-hmm. I read it this morning, but I want to read it again, right? Because I think this is really interesting. It's like, as early as August 31st, 2019, significant changes to the UFC anti-doping policy have been agreed on in principle between UFC and USADA, and have been put into practice, and obviously important information for everyone to know. But yet nearly 2 months after these changes were agreed on in principle, they are nowhere to be found. Here is the problem. Where is the public transparency? Take a look at USADA's UFC news page. Since August 31st, they have posted 8 items. Every single one of them features the announcement of an anti-doping violation. No news of the policy shift and no mention of this very important change on USADA's social media or in the UFC's athlete handbook. SARMs, the therapeutic compound for which Diaz tested positive, is today listed as by USADA as prohibited at all times and no minimum threshold exception. It seems that would be important information to update, but yet nearly 2 months after these changes were agreed on in principle, they are nowhere to be found. USADA has lost all credibility and claims of independence and should be officially called UFCiada and clearly in the UFC's pocket. So this is one of the things that probably happened is USADA probably banned SARMs. They're bad. You can't take them. There's a good possibility that Diaz was taking them, not thinking there was anything wrong with them, which is clearly possible, right? Because it's not a steroid. It's different. It's labeled different. It's treated different. A lot of people don't consider them the same. So I could see very easily somebody making the logical conclusion that Diaz didn't take steroids, or that he was taking them and he's not taking steroids, because technically he's not. If he didn't know that what he was taking was banned and illegal, it's not really his fault. And if UFC and USADA didn't make it known to the athletes, well then, Like, whose fault is that?
Well, I'll say
And I
this.
think now they're caught with their pants down. Now they have to backtrack and fake it and make it look like, oh no, it was this total supplement. That's totally what it was.
I think
I don't
all
know.
of it's selectively enforced. 100%.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, 100% selectively enforced. Let's start there. So
It's to give the guise of a sport when it's not a sport. It's like, look, we have this regulation. Look, it's no different than the WWE bringing in USADA and testing their athletes.
exactly. And once again, it's selectively enforced. They probably warn people. They've obstructed tests. If you believe the pulsing picogram theory, you're an asshole. Listen, Frank Mir tested for just around, I think, less than Jones did, and the difference was, according to Jeff Nowitzki, was John Jones cooperated with us. What does that exactly mean? Does that mean he snitched other people out? Does that just mean he took whatever contractual obligations in retrospect? And here's the problem. This is why I actually like what Diaz did. They wanted him to keep his fucking mouth shut. Now, let's see Diaz wins that fight. Now, all of a sudden, they want to bring that up. They want to put a no contest, pressure him into another fight. All of a sudden, he loses half his purse or the win bonus, according to his contract or whatever, right? And he knows they could fuck him at any moment after the fact. So he just comes out and says, look, I'm not a cheater. Whether he is or not, he just says, look, I'm not going to play this game. And he forces them, who's now Disney and WME Entertainment, to say, holy shit, this is one of our fucking 3 biggest pay-per-views of the year for sure. And that's if we can get McRaper to fucking get in there again. You know, we need this fight no matter what. So I think that he probably leveraged it into more money and a guarantee.
So I think, I don't think, like I'm saying, I don't think Diaz did anything wrong. Whether he took the SARMs knowingly, I think there's a very good chance, but it wasn't illegal. I don't think there was him thinking there was anything wrong with it, or there was any cheating. I don't know about that, but yeah, he played it the right way. He didn't bow down to whatever they were doing. But I mean, I don't know. I'm always suspect when somebody's like, oh yeah, it was the supplement.
Again, I'm not running with that story anyway. I'm not giving him credit whether he did or didn't do it. I want to see this fight no matter what.
I don't think he did any purposeful cheating. I don't think that was the case.
I'm not accusing him, but again, if that came out, I wouldn't, be against reporting it. I'm not a fucking fanboy out there, guys. So when you send me your bullshit on there, I'll tell you what, I like good fights.
I like Nate. I think they missed some opportunities where they could have really.
Oh, I think he's great.
More situations on the bullshit the UFC is doing, but.
Him and his brother, man, they're very entertaining fighters, and they know how to promote them.
Some of them have been exploited by the UFC and the media by more than just about anybody else. Mm-hmm. Like the number of articles and stuff that are written about them and around them, and people making money off their backs. I don't like that.
Well, the other thing is, I always talk about this. I'm like, they're Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. So, yeah, are they thugs? Sure. Are they into some crazy, wild stuff? Maybe. But they're smart. And in order to stay with that, the Gracie gym that long, they got to have a lot of discipline. To get to that mountaintop, they got to have a lot of discipline. Yep. And, again, they're not going to be around there forever. I think Nate, again, did the smart thing one way or the other, whether he cheated or not. I'm still going to get the fight. I'm still going to watch the fight. We're still going to cover it next week on Mixed Martial Mindset. I think Nate wins the fight. What do you think?
I think it's very probable that he could win, but I mean, I don't know. Masvidal's a tough guy. We'll see. I don't know. It's hard to call.
Yeah, again, Masvidal is on a streak. Nate looked great against Pettis. They are bangers. I could see it going that route. Although sometimes when you get 2 guys that big, it's a 5-round fight. Could be feeling out process in the first few rounds, in my opinion. Maybe it heats up in the last 2. On the ground, I give it to Nate, but Jorge is no slouch, and he's grinded out other guys that have great jiu-jitsu. Before we close it out, let's talk about it. Askren loses to Damian Maia. I thought he won the first 2 rounds, not by much. It was definitely more of a striking fest than I expected. When Maia did get him down in the first 2, he defended pretty well, especially in the second. Had him down for that last minute, and he really wasn't able to get him into any majorly bad positions. Third round, different story. 2+ minutes on the ground, made a couple of moves, made a bad mistake, caught his neck. What does Ben Askren do? What do you say to that? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know where he goes from here. If he still wants to keep fighting, I wouldn't mind seeing him and Masvidal fight again. Honestly, it was over so fast. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know where he goes from here. I don't know what's next. Um, Maya is one of the greatest for sure. That's one of the fights I wish I could really get back. I got sick as a dog the week of the fight, and I had zero gas for the fight, and all I could do is like defend. I was doing for one big punch and defend the whole time.
And again, he's one of those guys that's your generation, dude. I mean, he's 42 years old. He's scrapped with just about every top 15 guy worth their salt. Not only did he did 170, he did 185 for a while too, didn't he? He got the title shot against Silva at 185, I believe. And I mean, you talk about a guy that's gone the distance. You know, and we should bring this up too. No disrespect to Randy Couture, and my thoughts and prayers are with him after the heart attack. But Damian Maya has to be in that conversation. You know, he fought longer and probably tougher competition overall than Couture. And what has he gotten? One title shot?
Yeah.
I mean, they gave Randy 3 or 4. I mean, I get it.
They don't like consistency. They don't want you to continue to keep winning the belt and continue to keep winning the belt, unless they're trying to make money off of you by getting into a market.
And I feel like
need him.
He's a Brazilian guy. I get it. He's not as flashy as Silva. Silva was big numbers, great draw, but jiu-jitsu's huge there. That's mainly what Maya is a grappler. I think his striking's gotten better over the years. Again, watch those first 2 rounds with Askren. There's a lot of back and forth. His jab is pretty crisp. Ben's head movement, I don't think, is really there.
Terrible.
Yeah, it's really not good. It's got to get better if he does want to maybe make a run in the UFC. We actually did over an hour today, guys. If you want to see more of John Fitch's stuff, it's over at johnfitch.net. Remember, 5 days a week, 12:30 Eastern to 1:30 Eastern, John?
Yeah. I'm usually 9:30 to 10:30. Usually, John Fitch Does Nothing is on. I do a show usually Wednesdays at 3, 6 on the East Coast with Corey Capella, and it's God Amongst Men is his YouTube, and that's called the Red Pill Smash Brothers. We talk about a lot more guy stuff. We'll talk a lot about this 21 Con on that day, and then I do another one with him on Saturday mornings usually.
And guys, remember thegruelingtruth.com. A lot of great podcasts there, and now we are there. We are the exclusive mixed martial arts podcast, and we talk a lot more than just mixed martial arts, as you saw with Duke University, but we're also calling MMA like we see it. Make sure to thumbs this video up, share, and please subscribe to the Burmese Brigade. We got 35,000 plus subscribers. Let's get to 40, 50, 100K before they shut this down, because again, if they're shadow banning my links on this and on Twitter in the Conor thing, I don't know where it's going to go. And again, I got the GoFundMe. I love you guys. I'll see you on the flip side. Thanks, John.
Later, dude.